Hey guys, nobody's on yet, but I'm just waiting on questions. So, if you are watching this back and you would like to send questions next time that you join, I made a remind group for anybody that doesn't have me as their teacher. Hey! So, once again, you can just send me any questions. If you want to go ahead and send those ahead of time, I can start answering them when I get on next time. But I am just waiting on people to send me questions and then I will get started. And once again, if you joined in and you are waiting on me to get started, what I'm doing with virtual tutorial is just that you get to send me any questions. If you are not a part of my class and you want to send me questions, you can just join that remind code that's on my board and then send me a question there. You can just send me a picture of whatever it was, okay? And if you're in my class, you can send it to my remind. And then sometimes it doesn't tell me there's an attachment, so if you'll just put that in the comment box, I can do that. Or if you text me, put in the comment box some type of question you'd like to go over, I can do that as well. How is virtual classes going for you guys? I don't know who's on yet, so. It's crazy. What's been crazy about it? Hey, whoever just joined. Why does my camera keep blinking like that? You don't like it? It is really weird. Like yesterday, I just sat at my computer all day. I did not like that either. What's up, Bernard? Like I said, I'm just waiting on y'all to send me questions. It's a tutorial. I don't want to like force anything down your throat. It's also Thursday, and Langston Hughes' math day is Tuesday. So really, I'm just here if you got any questions or if you want to chat. I know that y'all probably miss being at school. Y'all don't get to see anybody. I don't get to see anybody. Kind of weird. What classes have been the hardest to get used to online? All of them? That's unfortunate. What platform have your teachers used that you like the best? Are your teachers using Edpuzzle or Teams or whatever? Since we did a test this week, I may try out one of them next week. Which one did y'all like the best so far? Hey guys, if you were joining in and you haven't, and you're just wondering why I'm just sitting here, I'm waiting on you guys to send me any questions you have. If you are in my class, you can send it to the remind that you already have, and then tell me that you sent it because sometimes it doesn't alert me when you send an attachment. And then if you are not in my class, you're in Mr. McMullen's class or Mr. Randall's class, or just saw the YouTube link and want algebra help, there is a remind code right there on the board. If you will join this remind, you can send me an attachment because I don't think you can send me a picture through YouTube. But if you don't have any questions, that's what this is for. Today is not even math day at Langston. I just wanted to keep things normal, and since I have tutorial on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're going to do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And if you want to chat, or if there's just a topic that you would like to go over because you haven't taken your math test yet, you can tell me that and I can go over that. How is everybody liking virtual school besides Maya and Bernard? Virtual is hard. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, that's the reason I'm trying to. Max said that he likes to do it better in class. I agree. That's why I'm trying to make it as normal as being in school as possible so you can just ask me questions. Next week, I'm either going to be using Teams or Ed Puzzle so that you can get questions. Awesome, Bernard. I'll go and answer that. So you can see the video and then try and make it as normal as possible. If y'all tell me what would make it feel more normal, I can try and put some of that stuff in there too. Cool. So Bernard said that he sent a question. I'm going to find that. And that's what I was talking about. It didn't tell me that he sent that since it was an attachment. So make sure you tell me you sent something. Even if you just send another message to remind, it will populate for me. Okay. So trying to make sure that's in the right spot. I think that's good. He sent a question. It looks like it's rate of change. So for St. Patrick's Day, Ashley bought several bags of green candy for her friends. Each bag contained a different number of something candy. Your screenshot left me a little bit there. But we've got a nice table, and it says identify the cost of one piece of candy. So I'm going to write the table on the board so everybody can see it. And then I'm also going to write the rate of change formula. So I'll go ahead and do that first. anytime we talk about rate of change, we use that slope formula because slope and rate of change are the same if we're working a linear equation, right? So this is the slope formula. If you have not taken the Unit 4 test yet, remember any question that says rate of change, any question that says the word rate of change, you're going to use this, and then whatever they told me was X is what I'm going to plug in. So like I said, I'm going to write down the table he sent me now. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and mention something that is for next week for anybody that is not in my 1A class. And I may actually skip ahead and do that with you guys as well because it's going to be a little bit easier to learn online, I think. Luckily, you guys are coming to exponentials, which are way easier than quadratics. But what we're going to do is everything you're working with here is linear. I'm going to close that window so the glare goes away. Ooh, wrong window. Okay, still didn't work. Anyway, I'm going to check and see if it's linear first. That's what you're going to be learning about next week. To do that, I need to see that it's changing the same amount on this side and the same amount on this side. So this increases by 6, this increases by 6, this increases by 6, this increases by 4, this increases by 4, this increases by 4, and that increases by 4. By seeing that they're adding the same amount over and over and over again, that's going to tell me that it's a linear equation, which means it's that line equation. And the biggest exponent is 1. Okay. This is linear. Everything in this study island that y'all had assigned was linear. So all we have to do is plug it in. Since it's linear, I can pick any x and any y. So let's pick the smallest two because that's always easy. So I'm going to have 6, 4 and 12, 8. That makes this x1, y1 and x2, y2. And then we're just going to plug these in here. So y2 is 8, y1 is 4, x2 is 12, x1 is 6, 8 minus 4 is 4, 12 minus 6 is 6, and that is going to be 2/3, which if I put in the calculator is going to be 0.6 repeating. So when I am talking about money, since this is the cost, it has to be rounded to 2 decimal places, which goes all the way back to first unit standards. And we're going to say that this is rounded to 67 cents. Grief, I can't figure out where that glare is coming from. But Bernard, did that make sense? Is that glare making it so that you can't see that part of the board? I can't really tell on my end. Okay, good. So send me your questions. If you've joined and you haven't been on the whole time, because I wasn't really watching how many people have been on and off, since this is tutorial, you're just joining to ask me questions if you have them. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Bernard. Just tell me if you have a question. If you are not in my class and you would like to send me a question, there is a remind code at the top of the board. You can just join that remind group and send me a question. Just send me a picture, whatever it is that you need to go over. And that is a Q right here, a 9. If you have a question, just send me a picture. Or if you would just like to say, hey, tell me how your classes are going and everything, you can tell me about that since we're not moving too quick. Tuesdays are math days, so I didn't expect today to be quite as busy. So if you are trying to go back and do old study islands, Thursdays will probably be the best day to come on and ask about it. Or if you're trying to do an old IXL, you can tell me what that section was. You sent another one? That's cool. I'm going to go grab my water bottle while that comes through, and I will be right back to answer that question, okay? Okay. Max, so your class came in late and I never told you exactly what style islands to do. And since you had a test this week, I wanted you to have time to study. I'm going to start having you guys go back and do some of the study islands that the other classes did. If you want to go ahead and go on, they are all up for your class. I'm just going to tell you which ones to do. So if you've kind of run out of things to do for other classes, you can go ahead and go on there. This rate of change one that he's been asking about is already on there. That may be good to do today if you want to go ahead and get it done, because eventually I'm going to assign those to you guys as well. Good question. So like I said, if you were in my 1A, the study islands, if you go in there, they are already assigned. I just never told you guys to do them because we were going through kind of trying to catch up. So if you would like to do the one that we're going over, I will put it up as a grade. I may go ahead and do the rate of change one next week because that's one you should be able to do pretty easily. So you can go ahead and do that if you would like. Good question. Bernard, do you know the number on the one that you've been sending me? It's not the IDs. Bernard, do you know the name of the one that you're signed into, the rate of change one? Max, you're in the right place. I'm just trying to figure out what the name of it is. And Bernard, I never got a second picture. So if you want to resend that. Max, I'll look it up while I'm waiting on him. It's IF6. Thank you, Bernard. It's IF6, Max. And Maya, you could be doing the same thing if you're still on here. Anybody in 1A, if you want to go ahead and do that one, I'll make you that your first one since that's what I've got the most questions about this week. I know some people were telling me that they ran out of things to do with me just giving them the study guide. But I want to make sure you had time to do that. Okay. We're still in the rate of change section, which is that IF6. So I'm going to rewrite my formula up here. Once again, if we were in class taking a test or working on it, I would be leaving that on the board. So I highly recommend that while you do this rate of change, you just have that written down at the top of your sheet of paper you're working on, okay? Caesar needs 1 1/4 cup flour to make a cake that will serve 12 people. If Caesar wants to make enough cake to serve 48 people, how many cups of flour will he need? So this one actually isn't going to use this formula because you're not building that. What this is going to be is we need to do a conversion type of thing. So let's write down what we know. 1 1/4 cup of flour is going to serve 12 people. Okay, we also know that I want enough for 48 people. So we want to know how many cups of flour we're going to need. So I wrote that down as what I know, what I'm looking for. A lot of people are going to look at a problem like this and they're going to be like, oh, well, how many times does 12 go to 48? This would be the easiest way to look at it. Most people, I think, is to say, okay, well, 12 times 4 is 48. So all I have to do is multiply this side times 4. So that is one way to look at it. I think that's going to be the easiest way to look at it, is that we just need to multiply this times 4. So that's going to be, or let's convert that to a improper fraction. So that's going to be 1 times 4 over 4. We're going to want to change 1 to a fraction. I can do that by multiplying it by what's on the top and the bottom. So this is going to equal to 4 out of 4. And then I add it to this. That's how I convert from a mixed number to an improper fraction. We learned this back in 6th grade. Do you want me to explain converting fractions a little bit more? That's one of those things that people forgot that I can go back over in detail if you like. Put in the comment box if you would like me to do that. Nope, nobody? Okay, cool. Then we understand that this is 5/4. So since I'm multiplying by 4, I can put 4 over 1. Remember, if it's on the top and the bottom, it will cancel out. So 4 is on top, 4 is on bottom. We get 5 over 1, which reduces to be 5. So that would be the answer for that question that you sent me, Bernard. Okay, I got another question sent to me. So I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to copy that down or make sure you understand it. If you got a question about it, send it to me, and then I'll start this question I just got from Max. Jamie, do you do the study guide? Have you taken the test already? Because the study guide is there to help you with the test. However, I am doing like I normally do, and if you send me the screenshots of your work for the study guide, I'm gonna give you that free 100. I think about 10 people have sent it to me. I didn't expect as many people to turn it in as normal. But if you did do the study guide and you want to send it in for a free 100, you can. And Jamie, if you haven't taken the test and you would like, if you haven't taken the test and you would like questions about the study guide, I am more than happy to answer those. So you haven't taken it yet? Yeah, you can do the study guide, and then if you have questions from the study guide, I can pull those up and do them as well. Just tell me what number you want to do off the study guide, okay? Bernard, you said, is the one I sent you 30? I don't understand that question. Oh, you sent me another picture and you want to know if the answer is 30. Okay. It's going to be rise over run. So we go up 50 over 10. Jamie, you can send it on Remind. You can either send that, or if you go back through Remind, I sent somewhere where you can just upload those pictures. So either way is fine. Bernard, I'll answer your question after Answer Max's, okay? Okay, summarize this. Oh, do you send the questions on Remind, Jamie? Yeah, if you just send me the picture of your question, or tell me, you can tell me what number of the study guide, because I have the study guide pulled up. But if you want to send the pictures of it, do that on Remind. That answers your question. For the question I was just sent, Chuck is making a map for geography. In order to draw the map, he must create a scale converting the measures, inches of the actual, I think that says map, miles. Length in inches. Use the table above to identify the scale he must use for his map. Okay, so that's going to be like calculating rate of change. I just spilled markers on myself. I'm going to write down your table. Jamie, are there 30 on the test? There are 20 questions, and any of the IXLs that you missed for support, you can go back and do. If you look in Infinite Campus, you can see what those assignments were and what SMART score you were supposed to get up to, because it's out of that many points. So I think that like K14 is only out of 30 points because you only had to get to a 30 SMART score. Okay, this is the table that I was sent for this question. I think that what makes this question scary is the fact that you were given a ton of mixed numbers. But They're all with a fraction over 4 or over 2. So my denominators are either 4 or 2. And 4 and 2 are really easy because you can just think about money, right? So if I think about there are 4 quarters in a dollar, then 1 quarter is 25 cents. So I'm going to go through and convert all of these to decimals by thinking about what they were. Okay, so in inches, $1 and 1 quarter is $1.25. $1 and half a dollar is $1.50. $1 and 3/4 is $1.75. $2 and 1/4 is $2.25. $2 and another half a dollar is $2.50. And then $2 and 3/4 is $2.75. So we can ease the fact that fractions are scary if we're working with a denominator of 4 by saying, okay, it's just like if I had a quarter. Because this tells me how many quarters. And then I'm going to go back and put the miles at the bottom. Those were all whole numbers, so there's no reason to go through and change anything about them. So it says use the table above to identify the scale factor that he is using for his map. So we need to figure out what the measurement is going to be. What are they multiplying by? So really, all we're going to need to do is add those out. What number is this multiplying by to become that is what they are asking me. So what I'm going to do is just divide 45 by 125. Sorry, my cat decided to crawl on me. Say hi. Move. So 45. And I'm going to put that in the calculator. Once again, you can pull up the Desmos calculator. It makes things easier because we are used to using it. Hey, Sky. There are 20 questions on the test. And Jamie, I put in all the support grades yesterday from stuff. So anything that comes in late, I'll put in after I get back around to those, okay? But if you send me a message when you're finished with them, I can go ahead and do that because it'll be easy to look at one person's, okay? So I divided that. I said 45 divided by 1.25, and that gave me 36. I could have also thought about this as 45 over 125 is equal to some number over 1. If that makes it easier, and then we could have cross multiplied. And Bernard, I realized what I did the other day for your question is when I put it in Desmos, somehow I missed putting the decimal in. So please make sure when you are using your calculator that if it has a decimal that you are putting that in there. So yeah, there are 20 questions on the Unit 4 test. If you are finishing up Unit 3, there are 17 questions on that test. When you take the Unit 4 test afterwards, it may tell you that 2 of the questions are wrong. That's because I can't figure out how to make it edited, and I'm going to edit those by hand, okay? So you may have got 2 more right than it says. I'm not going to tell you which ones, but you'll see when it goes in the grade book. Okay. You're welcome, Max. So back to that second question that Bernard had sent me. He asked if the answer was 30, right? So he has a graph for figuring out the rate of change, and I actually haven't done one of those. So all we're gonna need to do is rise over run, and I'm just gonna draw a little bit of it because that's gonna make it easier. Jamie, there's 29 on the study guide because that was the original pretest. So I removed a few of the questions that were harder when I made it a take-home test, since y'all are trying to figure everything out this week. Plus, I needed to be 60 minutes or less so that I could give you 60 minutes for the study guide and 60 minutes for the test, since I'm supposed to give you an hour and 20 minutes of work. So I just went ahead and gave you the whole study guide, and then I didn't give you the whole test. But I am going to tell y'all, since you came, there are a couple of questions that are on the study guide that are also on the test. So make sure you go through the study guide. It's very beneficial. Okay. The question that Bernard sent me, I'm going to pull a couple of points and make the graph. It looks like we have a point at 1, 2, 50. And then we're going to have another point at 4, 100. And all I'm doing for that, I'm not going to tell you which ones. Just go through. Once you've seen it, you should notice that they're on there, especially if you're taking notes so you can turn it in for that free 100, then you should have it written down on a sheet of paper. Or it's take home. You could always, have the study guide pulled up while you're looking at it, right? Okay. All we're doing is rise over run, so we need to see how far it went up and how far it went over. So up, I go from 50, 100 is 50. Over, I go from 2 to 4 is 2. So rise over run is 50 over 2. So you are really close with 30, but you need to make sure that you are looking at the numbers closely, right? So make sure you're counting the right amount. This graph that you sent me goes up by 50s and it goes over by 1s. So that's what can make this confusing. So 50 divided by 2 is 25. So you were really close. It just looks like you may have counted incorrectly. Okay. I don't see that anything else has come through yet. Max, I just saw your message that my cat looks like yours. You must have a really cute cat then. So if you have questions, send them to me. It sounds like a couple of people are looking at the Unit 4 study guide still. If you will just tell me what questions, I can do those as well. I'll go ahead and pull that PowerPoint up. And once again, if you have a question on the Unit 4 study guide or Study Island or IXL, any of those are fair game. I'm just going to wait until y'all tell me what you want to go over, though, because I have no clue what y'all want to go over. If you weren't here before and you are not in my class, you are either Mr. Randall, Mr. McMullen, Mr. Lovely, or you just saw there was a live Algebra 1 tutorial and you want to ask questions, I have a remind code right here that you can join and send questions. Number 5 off the study guide. Okay. Now I'm going to say I don't think that this one is on the test, but this is what probably the weirdest one on the study guide. The other one that was super hard, I noticed was not on the test and I took off the study guide. So if you notice that there's not a number 29 or there's not a number 28, that's why. So number 5 on the Unit 4 study guide says that we've got the function f of x. I need to throw this marker out. F of x is equal to 3 times 2 to the x. And it's also got a table that tells me all of what g is. So I'm going to fill in this table for g on the board so everybody can see it. Okay, so we've got what f of x is, our normal function. If I want to find anything out, I would put that number in for x and figure it out. For g, I have a table, so I know that if x is 4, then g of x, that y value would be 12. So what happens here is I have two different functions on this. So this question asked me f of 2, it asked me to like do some operations. So while it's not the most difficult question in the world, it is really weird, right? So what I am trying to do is actually figure out these operations. So they say f of 2 times g of negative 4 plus f of negative 2 times g of 4. So what I'm going to need to do is figure out the answer to each of these and then just plug it in and do those operations. So f of 2 means that I plug 2 into this. So I'm going to do that to the side. F of 2 is 3 times 2 to the 2. Right? So f of 2, and I'm doing PEMDAS, so exponents come first. So 2 squared is 4. So f of 2 is 12. So then that would be the first thing that I'm going to plug in over here. F of 2 is 12. Then I've got g of negative 4. For that, all I have to do is read the table. So g of negative 4, so x is negative 4. So g of x there is 4. Now I'm going to have to fill in f of negative 2, but I have an equation or a function for that, so I'm going to plug into that. I'll figure out f of negative 2. So that's 3 times 2 to the negative 2. Anytime I have a negative exponent, it becomes a fraction. Yeah, we did this one in class. Do you want me to finish it still? Okay, I'm going to keep going. Anytime there's a -2, it becomes a fraction, aka this just goes to the bottom, so I'm going to have 1/2 to the 2. We know 2 squared is 4, and I'm just going to keep writing right there because I'm almost done. So that's 3 times 1/4, and then the 3 multiplies by the numerator. So the answer right there is 3/4. So f of -2 is 3/4. And then for this one, I want to just got to read the table, right? So g of 4, 4 is down here, 12. Okay, so I just need to do my operations now. So once again, I'm going to go straight through PEMDAS. Now that I've plugged in, I don't have any parentheses. I don't have any exponents. I do have multiplication. So this side, 12 times 4 is 48. I can multiply these as well. I'm going to turn this into a fraction. And then I multiply top times bottom. But we discussed in class it's a lot easier to go ahead and simplify before I do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, what is 12? Well, 12 is there a 4 that goes into it? Can I cancel out this 4 in the denominator? Well, 12 is 3 times 4. So I'm going to change it to that. Now I have a 4 on top and a 4 on bottom, which means I can cancel out. So all that's left over here is 2 3s on top. 3 times 3 is 9. And 48 plus 9 is 57. This is the type of question that really determines whether you are getting like an A or a B on the EOC. If we have the EOC, this would be the type of question that determines whether you get a level 3 or a level 4. So if you feel pretty confident with a question like this, you should be good to go on any test. Jamie, if you just tell me what number, I have that pulled up. Or are you talking about your finished study guide? You're welcome, Sky. Are you talking about what you completed? Okay. If you want to send it to me, you can just either take pictures of it and send it to me on Remind, or you can take pictures of it and send it to the Google Forms that I sent you on Remind. Bernard, you sent me one? I remember there's a video going over all the study guide questions on the link. So unless you didn't understand that video, you can watch those on there, and that may help you out. Now, I did them all at one time, so I may have gotten a little harder to understand. 1B. Okay. But Jamie, you can just send pictures to my Remind. That's probably the easiest thing to do. Okay. So the one that Bernard just sent me is another rate of change one. Remember, if you are in 1A, you haven't had any study islands assigned, or I haven't told you they're assigned to you, but they are already in there. So if you would like to go ahead and do the rate of change one, I'm going to make that the first one that you get assigned, since that's what a lot of people are asking about for my other class. Astrid has a data plan through her cell phone company where she pays $56 a month for 500 kilobytes of data. And I'm just writing stuff down as I read it. And 0.035 cent for an additional kilobyte over 5,000. Make sure I read that right. Okay. To the nearest cent, how much would Astra need to pay for her data plan if she used 7,084 kilobytes of data? Okay, so for this one, we're going to create an equation. So if you're watching, this is going to be a linear equation, and I'm going to have one of y'all tell me what is the y-intercept? What has she got to pay no matter what? What is going to be B? Somebody type that in there for me. What is she paying no matter what? Anybody notice? Says she pays $56 a month for 5,000, and then she pays an additional 0.035 for each additional kilobyte over 5,000. Well, the first thing that she's going to pay is no matter what she pays is $56. So when I plug that in the equation, I'm always paying that. Then I've got to, for each section, so for each thing that is extra, I'm going to pay this amount. And for each, anytime I see that, this means it's going to be that rate of change. So for each is a keyword. It tells me I'm doing rate of change. So I plug that in for M. The key here is that my y-intercept is going to be 5,000. So what I plug in for X is anything above 5,000. So I need to do 7,048 minus 5,000. And this is going to be what X equals when you plug in. So that's going to be the amount we pay, and we just need to plug that in a calculator. So I'm going to pull that up and plug it in. So I get that she paid $127.68, which is not on there. So let me check and make sure we're good to go. Let's see. I'm going to check that one more time. Astrid has a data plan for cell phone. She pays $56 a month for 4 kilobytes of data and 0.035 for each additional kilobyte over 5,000. To the nearest cent, how much would she need to pay for her data plan if she used 7,084 kilobytes of data? Jamie, is it not letting you send it all at one time? You can send me multiple pictures. Or, like I said, if you go back in your mind where I've sent you messages, I sent a Google Doc or a Google Forms where you can just upload it there. I'm sorry, Bernard. I'm trying to figure out why in the world my answer's not on here. Did I put the decimal in the right spot? Am I reading that wrong? Can you tell me from your screen? If anybody else has a question they'd like to do, either from the study guide, study island, or from IXL, you can definitely send me that. If there's a topic in IXL you aren't understanding, you can tell me that and I can pull it up and go through a couple. She spends $56 a month. For the study guide. How many pages do you have? You have 29 pages. Did you do each one on a different page? Uh, just zoom out and send me a picture of all of that. Can you just put it on the table, kind of lay it out and take a picture of all of it so that I can see that you did it? Thank you. I was sitting here, I was wondering what in the world happened. Okay, so it says 7,084, which means that we need to switch these. Okay, so let's plug that back in the calculator now. We figured out what I did wrong. That is going to be $128.94. Yeah, Jamie, I know that you have the right answers to the study guide, so I'm just giving you the grade for going through and making sure you actually wrote it down and participated in doing the study guide. I know your work should be correct since I did it as well, but you can definitely, I just want to see that you actively participated and you didn't just let the videos play. Okay. Doing it with your hand makes you remember it better. Trying it before I do it makes you remember it better. All the things in math class. Okay, once again, I am just chilling till y'all tell me what you want to go over. Send me a picture of what you want to go over On Remind, if you are not in my class and you're somebody else's class and you would like to send a question, I made a Remind just for that, so you can just take a picture, whatever it is. If you are trying to go over the study guide, tell me what question on the study guide. If you have a question about IXL and you don't have a particular question you want to do, just send me the topic and I will pull it up on IXL. Or if you just want to chat, you can tell me how your day is going. Tell me how it's going in all your virtual classes. I know that some of us are probably missing getting to see people. Okay. Bernard sent me another rate of change problem. Okay, it says the price of a recreational vehicle that is X years old is represented by the function below. We have an exponential function here because my exponent is a variable. So I can tell that it's exponential if I have that. It says, what is the approximate average rate of change over the interval 1 to 5? This looks just like something that we would come across on our Unit 4 test. I think there's probably one that looks just like this. So interval means that those are the x's. So those are the two x's that I'm going to be plugging in to find out what they are. And then rate of change is still that y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I know the bottom is going to be 5 and 1. But what I need to figure out is what my y's are going to be. So since these are the x's, I'm going to plug them in. And then I'm going to use that and put it in the calculator. So P of 1, since that's my first x, right, all kinds of crazy stuff. That's going to be to the first power. And I'm going to go ahead and write the second one and plug them both in the calculator at the same time. And we've got P of 5. And that changes the x to that. This is what we were working on right before this test. Like I said, this is very likely to come up on your Unit 4 test when it looks just like this. So I just need to plug these both in the calculator. Once again, I highly recommend you use that Desmos scientific calculator because it is the easiest thing to use. So I never plug in this side, I just plug in the other side. So 34,950, parentheses, 0.94, close parentheses, exponent. So we've got 32853. So after 1 year, it would have gone down to this. This is decreasing. So I can see that this number went down, which makes sense. So that means that I should be on the right track. Okay. Now I'm going to change that exponent to a 5. And my next answer is 25,649. And let's use 2 decimal places. So that's going to be 95. And then we have to figure out the approximate rate of change. So this is my x1, y1, x2, y2. I'm going to plug that in. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm going to plug that straight in the calculator. And like I said, I'm going to type it in just like it is here because that makes it easier. So I'm going to hit the fraction button first and then type that in. We've got $25,649.95 minus $32,583. On the bottom, we've got 5 minus 1. And that is going to give us negative 1,876 cents. And it says, what's the approximate? So we rounded beforehand. They did not round beforehand, so they got 1,799.73, which is really, really close to this. And since I use that word approximate, that's definitely going to be the answer there. Remember, since this is a decay, this rate of change should be negative. So this definitely makes sense. So that means that the answer B should have been knocked out just because it wasn't negative. So I always look at stuff like that to make sure we're on the right track. Oh, okay. Those are from you. Cool. Jamie, if you're still on, I just got all of your video, all those pictures. Or did you print them all out? That's why you had all of my separate sheets of paper. Gotcha. I see that, Jamie. So I see why you had 29 different pieces of paper now because you printed them out. I got you. Okay, Jamie, I got you. Okay, once again, send me any questions that you have. If you are not from this class and you would like to ask questions, there's a remind code up there. You don't understand the one that I just did? Make sure if you don't understand that when you're asking me questions, because that one is on the Unit 4 test. Oh, the one that you just sent me. Okay. If you are on besides Bernard just sent me a lot of questions. And I'm okay with that because it's tutorial. But if anybody else would like to send questions, send it to my Remind. If you are not a part of my class, there's a Remind code up there. You are still more than welcome to send questions. Okay. He sent me one that says Steve found a snail 2 feet away from his house crawling forward in the garden. Jamie, the test is open until tomorrow. So technically Tuesdays are math days, but I'm going to leave the work open from Monday to Friday each week. Okay. Steve found a snail 2 feet away from his house crawling towards the garden in the backyard. The equation used to describe the number of feet the snail is away from the house is shown below. If y represents the number of feet away from the house the snail crawled, and x represents the number of feet since he found the snail, which statement best describes the rate of change distance of the house? No, Jamie, I do live on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Just like I do normal tutorial on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If y represents the number of feet away from the house the snail crawled, and x represents the number of minutes since he found the snail, which statement best describes the rate of change in the distance from the house? Okay. So y was, x represents the number of minutes, and y equals distance. Which describes the rate of change in distance from the house. So it says for every 6 hours, the snail would travel 1 foot. For every 2 minutes, the snail travels 1/6 of a foot. For every 1 minute, the snail travels 2 feet. And every 6 minutes, the snail travels 1 foot. So this was a really good question to ask. It is kind of weird. So what's happening is x is minutes, right? So x is the number of minutes that have happened. And since we're measuring in feet, I just need to see how long it takes to travel a foot. So what this is saying, for every minute, he goes 1/6 of a foot. Or is it hours? Yeah. So every minute, he's going to go 1/6 of a foot. But that means that if I travel for 6 minutes, so 1/6 times 6 is going to be equal to 1. So after 6 minutes, I will have gone 1 foot. So if I look at answer A, it says for every 6 hours, he travels 1 foot. If X was hours, then A would be correct. But since it says X represents the number of minutes, then we are looking for minutes there. B says for every 2 minutes, the snail travels 1/6 of a foot. That is every 1 minute because every X is traveling that far. So B is not correct. C says for every 1 minute, the snail travels 2 feet. That is the 2 that we started out with. So this 2 represents how far away they were when he found it. So it says he was 2 feet away from the house when he found it. That's where this 2 came from. So it doesn't have anything to do with the changing. That would have to touch the X for it to be changing. And then D says for every 6 minutes, this snail traveled 1 foot. Well, I know that if I plug 6 in for X, then that answer would be 1. So that is what we're saying there. So that is the answer to that question. Okay, so once again, if you have questions, send them to me on Remind. Bernard, if that didn't make sense, tell me. Unit tests close tomorrow. Make sure that you've done them before tomorrow. I'm going to send an email out reminding parents about that today. So please make sure that you have done it or have a plan to do it tomorrow. I'm not sure what day Friday is. What is that? Science? Make sure you're watching out for teachers be emailing you stuff. Jamie, there were videos going over the answers on the study guide, so you should be able to see those. Did you not go through and see those already? Bernard, can you resend that question? It came in sideways. So if you go through the videos, you can check your answers. If there's one that you really didn't understand, I don't mind going through it, though. Whereas I still got 45 minutes to do stuff, so. What time is the test closing? I think it closes at the end of the day. I think that's what I have it set for. Yes, tomorrow at the end of the day. Like I said, it's set till Friday. So it should be open till tomorrow at the end of the day. But Jamie, if there's one on the study guide that you definitely want to go over, I can't just tell you all the answers to it because I already made videos for it. But if there's a couple that you want to go over, just tell me what numbers, okay? So I'm gonna try and read this one that he sent. I don't know how to say her name. She drives her vehicle the same number of miles each day. The number of miles remaining before her vehicle is due for its next routine service is represented by the function below. What is the average rate of change over the interval 60 to 90? So that one is another one where they're telling you the x's and you're going to have to plug them in, right? So we are using that same formula and doing the same thing we did at the last one. So I'm going to help you set it up. I want you to try this one and tell me what you think the answer is. Can you do that for me? And then I can help you with it. But I want to make sure you're practicing them because you've got m of x equals 4,000 to 90. So interval means these are my x's. So you're going to need to plug 60 in and 90 in and use this again. So Bernard, can you try and set that up and send me a picture of what you set up? Because I want to make sure that you're getting it and that I'm not just doing all your problems for you. And you can send me pieces if you want. Oh, thanks. I just saw you sent it the other way. So, Bernard, go ahead and plug those in for me. These are both x's. So you're going to do this just like I did the last one. I plug in x, plug in x. That's going to be the y for that. Plug in this x. And then that's going to be the y for that one. So try that and then send me what you've got plugged in, okay? How did I confuse you? When I say the word interval, that means they're my x's. This is the equation they gave me. So if this is my x, I'm going to, instead of writing x, write what x was. So instead of writing x, I'm going to write 60. Instead of writing x, I'm going to write 60. And I got to do that twice because they gave me two x's. So this I'm going to plug in the first time. M of this x is 60. And then I've got another x, so I'm going to do that a second time. It looks just like the one that I did a little while ago, except for this one's linear instead of exponential. So try and plug in. When I say plug in, I mean instead of writing. So I've got m of whatever x is. So you need to put your x right here and right here. And you've got two different x's, so you're going to do it twice. Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. Now you just put that in the calculator. I see it. So you're just going to plug that in the calculator. You plugged it in, right? So you put 60 here and here, right? So go through. I don't plug this in the calculator. I just plug this in the calculator. Okay? So put 40 minus 38 times 60 in the calculator, and then go back and do that with 90 as well. Can you do that? You're going to get both of those. What you sent me is perfect. Just put it in the calculator. Okay. I'm going to plug in my calculator and make sure. You've got... You got 1720 and 580. Perfect. Okay. So now that you've done that, what I need you to do is to plug this in here. So this is always x1, y1, and x2, y2. So plug that in here and send me that. And you can go ahead and put it in the calculator if you feel confident about it. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the calculator so I can make sure your answer's right when you send it to me. How do you put it in the calculator? So what I did is, let me send you a picture, actually. I think that'll be easier. I don't think I can share my screen here. So did you pull up the Desmos calculator, or are you doing it on your phone or what? Okay, so I'm typing out how to type it in your phone, okay? Do you have an iPhone or an Android? Because it depends on which way you're going to plug it in. So if you type it the way I just typed it, okay. Turn it sideways. You may be able to type it like this. You may need to do it as two separate things. So you're probably going to need to do the top. Type it like that. Type the bottom like that. And then you're going to do the answers divided by each other, okay? So The answer to the first one is this. So since you have an iPhone calculator, you may have to type in all three things separate. So what I sent you is the top divided, the numerators, the denominator subtracted, and then the answer to the numerator divided by the answer to the denominator. That's it. Nice job. Hey, whoever popped in, if you have a question, you can send it to me. I'll remind. If you don't have any questions, I'm just kind of waiting on questions, and then got about whole time left. Okay, Bernard, I see your that you sent me something else. I'm just waiting on it to pull up, okay? It's just showing me the same picture you sent before. Oh, wait. Wasn't you? Hey there, Monzareth? Oh, for the study guide, I didn't even pass it out. So just send me pictures. You don't need to get a copy. You don't get a 0 for not doing the study guide anyway. But all you got to do is write whatever you felt you needed to write down while watching the videos. You can just write on a sheet. Give me a picture of that. I didn't have a chance to give you a copy of it, so you don't have to worry about that. It is Monzareth that's on here, right? If that's not her. Okay. Like, I was just making sure. Anyway, yeah, don't worry about that. You can just take a picture and send it back to my remind, and you're good to go. How are you doing? but yeah, just take a picture of whatever it is that you did and then send it straight to my remind. Are there any questions from the study guide you want to go over that you didn't understand from the videos? Okay, cool. Just tell me if you do. Have a good rest of your day too, okay? Enjoy being at home. Take a break here and there. Okay, if you decide to join this, I've got about 15 minutes left and I don't have anybody on anymore. So you've decided to join this late and you want to send me a message on Remind, I can drop back on or I can answer your question there. Don't want to just sit here for 15 minutes for no reason. I think that I'm going to move this to Teams starting next week so that you can actually show me your questions in person. So I'm going to get those teams set up for you, and then we will get started using that next week. Okay? Bye, guys.